Mark's first Leafs and Lads in how long? 4 months?
Yeah, 3, 4 months.
Yeah, and we've had downtown on, we've had Din on, we've yet to had everyone together, but that will come soon. Din right now is in Mexico, so um, he still watches the games, which
Yeah.
last game, and that's what we'll start off with, the New Jersey game. I know you watched it just like me, and before I texted everyone, I said, you know what, even if we don't win, all I
Yeah.
want is for us to show that we're going to compete and we don't have the same skill because we're missing O'Reilly, we're missing Tavares. Just go out, compete, and show that you care and have a hardworking game. And those both happened and we won.
Yeah.
So, what were your takeaways from the game?
I can't remember if it was you or Din texted the group the lineup
Mm.
and immediately went, well, we'll take an L, but let's make it a competitive game. Oh, wow. The first period was super boring. Like nothing going on.
Well, there was
Uh,
stuff going on for them, that's for sure. I think it was 15-3 in shots for New Jersey.
yeah. And yeah, they looked fast, skilled, and we looked like not even we didn't look bad. And it also didn't look like we're scrambling.
Just looked
Like,
outclassed. Looked like we're missing our second and third line center.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And then just slowly just got more and more into the game. And yeah, and uh what's the new guy? Lafferty.
Hmm.
He looks a lot better than like I didn't really know anything about him, so I had zero expectations. And he was one of the guys I really liked.
Yeah, Bald King. We got two bald kings on the team now. Matthews will be there soon, so we'll have three. Um, so I'm a big Lafferty guy. It's crazy that guy. I mean, we touched on the trades in the downtown video, but like, uh, he basically only played a full season this year. He was off and on with the Penguins, like in and out of the lineup the years before. So, but fast. He'll he kind of reminds me. He's similar to Colin Blackwell. Um,
Mm,
that we had last year, but I
yep.
think he's a little bit more physical than Blackwell was. But Blackwell was just like a speed demon.
Yeah.
So yeah, when you saw him as second line center, it was like, well, this isn't ideal. Uh,
Yeah.
but if you think about like what other choices did we really have to put up there? Camp is also not a second line center. Um,
No.
and he's fast, and so is New Jersey is also fast. So I mean, it ended up on our first goal was that line of just three super fast guys just having a nice little set play. Willie can drive a line by himself. He's shown that for years. And last year's playoff lineup, we have to remember Willie was on the third line with two
Yeah.
guys. I think it was Camp and Mikheyev, maybe. And he can drive that line. Like he doesn't need another guy on there. So I thought it was a good use uh of lines. I wasn't as upset about you guys. I was just like, well, what else are you gonna do on that second center?
Yeah.
You
I do
know?
like them resting players a little bit
Mm-hmm.
because injuries, like that's the biggest killer.
Yeah, we're gonna be in the playoffs one, and we have a 5 point lead with the same amount of games as Tampa right now. Tampa's
Yeah.
kind of been bad. So as long as we can kind of keep up without O'Reilly, we were still third or fourth in the league.
Yeah.
And that's not including McCabe, who's looked awesome, and
Yeah.
Lafferty and
He's the real
Achari.
deal.
So I have faith. Let's just cruise in, rest Geo. That was another one that I was like, Din and I were
Yeah.
talking. Just give that guy some rest. We have enough team men that it's gonna be okay. Even if
Yeah.
Geo's like, no, I want to go, say no, you're gonna play once
We
a
have
week
so
until the
many now.
playoffs.
It's so
Yeah.
weird.
It was like Muzzin. We didn't rest him at all, and he would get injured in the playoffs or get tired.
Yep.
And you need a guy like Gio to be playing good minutes on your third pair come the playoffs. So, especially
Yep.
because he got all that usage early in the season. But I wanted to talk to you what you think of the O'Reilly injury. I've touched on my perspective on it, but are you 4 weeks? Is that what do you think?
At first I was like, "Oh God, here we go." Like he's gonna come back, not be the same, but after talking with you guys, it doesn't sound like it's too major of an impact, and he should be fine. and
Yeah.
rested for the playoffs. So he's already shown that he can mesh in with the guys. So I think it should be fine.
Yeah, especially like being a bigger dude, a little bit older like him, like it's kind of good that he gets to like be fresh for the playoffs.
Yeah.
And 4 weeks, if it was when it first happened, means that it'll be right at the start of April. So he's still going to get a few games in from the regular season
Right.
to get his feet back under him before the playoffs start.
Yep.
So, I'm not, once again, we're third or fourth in the league without him. So it'll be nice to give, and you get to give other guys a chance to see if they can hang in the lineup and kind of like decide who your depth guys. Is it going to be Aston Reese, or are we going to go Steve's Holmberg? I've kind of lost a little bit of faith in this year. Come up
Yeah.
next year and be a fourth line guy, but this year I'm like, you know what, maybe not.
Yeah.
But can Steve's be a guy that you could potentially plug and play in fourth line and play with Achari and do well? So that'll be interesting going forward. Now, the next question I had for you: are you worried at all about Austin Matthews? We haven't talked in 3 months on this podcast. So lots has happened. Last year he got 60 goals. This year
Yeah.
he's on pace for maybe like 40, 45. Are
Yeah.
you worried about Austin Matthews at all, or?
Yeah. Just the bar is so high for him that he that he set that like it's impossible to like keep up with that. I'm not too worried, and like he showed in the New Jersey game, he can just like that, just score. Like
Yeah.
yeah, as
Yeah.
long as he saves it for the playoffs, we'll be good. Not
Yeah.
worried.
And I mean, realistically, if you look at Matthews through the year, like you could almost say that who he's been this season has how he's played in the playoffs, where he's not in the playoffs, he gets a few goals, but he's not like going to put up 7 goals in 7 games or anything like
Yeah,
that,
yeah.
So like this may be a little bit more up to his expectations.
Yeah.
But I would certainly rather him score 40 goals in the regular season and then score 7 goals in 7 games in the playoffs. So maybe we get a bit of a reverse this year,
And
as long as he's not injured.
his like two-way game is I think is really improved this year.
Yeah.
Like I see him back checking harder, and like he's like we've always known he does a little stick check and like steal the puck, but I notice it way more, and he's just so good at it that like I
Yeah.
love that. Like if it costs a couple of points for him, but he does that, I feel like we would win more games.
Yeah. And I mean, he had the injury hindering him at the start of the season too. And I think
Yeah.
he finished top 10 in Selke votes for best defensive
Oh,
forward
really?
last year. So I'd be interested to look at his metrics, but I know what you're saying. Like you do trust him out there, and he does get
Yeah.
some games where he's out there in the final minutes. It's just with guys we have now, like Achari and Camp, like you don't need to risk it, like just keep him off
Yes.
at the end of the games. All right. Your optimal D pairs. We don't need to get too into this because it's just like
Ooh.
it's, for lack of a better word, a clusterfuck of D guys we got right now.
Yeah.
I know you're not the biggest fan of Justin Hall,
Yeah.
but do you see Keefe taking him out at any point for the playoffs?
No. He likes that guy so much. Oh my god. Yeah, he's just gonna keep playing him.
What
But
about Lily? Like, are you needing Lily in that lineup?
like I'd still rather Lily than Hall. I
Yeah.
still want. So it would be Riley, Brody, McCabe, Hall,
Take your pick. We got,
and then Gio Lilly.
and that's
Who am I
not taking into
missing?
account. We're missing Shen. We're missing Gustafson.
Oh God, yeah.
So, I mean, what I've seen the last few
Wow.
games, McCabe has been on for no goals against. I think that was a stat going
Yeah,
around.
he's unreal. He's the real deal.
Yeah. So if you could potentially play a McCabe Brody shutdown pair in the playoffs, and then you could potentially put Lily and Riley because they've looked good together, that leaves Gio and Hall or Gio and Shen. And
Yeah.
either one I would be like, because I don't think he's going to take Hall out. But when we have to remember, when all of our defense were out in the start of the season and Mac Hollowell was playing, our number one pair playing 23 minutes a night was Gio and Hall, and they look good.
Yeah.
right? So if you got those guys on a third pair playing against lesser competition, you're going to be okay. And if you can put McCabe and Brody out against the top, and then Riley and Lily
Yeah.
can play solid 3-4D, I
Hmm.
think that's the best. But I will say, when Luke Shen is in the lineup, the hits are just I. We never used to be like a podcast about
Yeah.
like, let's be more physical. Like we were kind of like chirping that, but like when he's there, there is something to it. There's something
Yeah.
to him
I
throwing
love
hits.
that. He's
Yeah,
so awesome. I
yeah.
would rather him in a lineup anywhere than Hall.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they really do that. You could see potentially Keith maybe doing something with like home ice. He put Shen in the lineup because he can kind of control where he goes with line change. And then on the
Yeah.
away, you might want to take him out. Um, but it's something to take into consideration. I think we have so many good D that there's not the only bad answer is taking Lily out of the lineup for Hall.
Yeah.
If Hall
But I
makes it in
feel
over
like he's
Shen,
gonna
I'm not
do
going to
that.
hate my life. Yeah, I think so too. I think
It
so too.
sucks.
And it's
My
funny because we're ignoring Gustafson, who leads
yeah.
the Toronto Maple Leafs in points, and Timmins that we just signed for a 2-year deal. So
Yeah.
it's crazy the amount of options we have.
My one of the random questions I had for you is Morgan Riley in trouble? There's been a lot of Morgan Riley hate recently that I've been seeing, that he's not playing well this season and he's looking terrible ever since he got the contract. What are your thoughts on Morgan Riley?
He hasn't looked like a $7.5 million defenseman. Um, but he always plays well in the playoffs. That's one thing about Morgan Riley I've always liked is he's always been our best defenseman in the playoffs, and that's been like every year consistently. He doesn't make it's the Dermots that are making the mistakes. It's the Sandines that are making mistakes. Like Riley will make mistakes now, but I feel like he's going
Mm-hmm.
to bring it all together for the playoffs. So I'm not too worried, but I also wouldn't mind him being that second pair with Liljegren, where you're not playing him as a shutdown guy that he used to be. The other thing
Okay.
too is when Riley's played his best has been with shutdown guys like Ron Hainsey, right? When he did play with Brody, the guys that would kind of
Brody,
stay
yeah.
back a little bit when he plays with Muzzin, like so Luke. That's why I think Luke Shen could potentially be a pair. But him and Lily have worked really well. So I think he looks really bad when he plays with Justin Hall. So
Yeah.
don't play him with Justin Hall. It's pretty
Yeah.
simple. And Hall
They
looks
both like
decent
the
when he's with Geo. So play him with Geo. It's not it's not hard.
yeah.
Right?
It
Yeah.
seems too obvious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you gotta recognize like when the lines were made, it's like they're gonna try a bunch of different things because they have so
Yeah.
many options and see what works. But at some point you just gotta recognize that some things just don't work
Yeah.
and just move on and try something else. So
Especially for the playoffs. Like you
especially
want
for
a
the playoffs.
concrete line,
Yeah.
your lines. Yeah.
All right. I have we were last year after basically every game or every other game, we would do like our three MVPs and the three disappointments. So because
Oh.
we haven't been here all season, what are your
Yeah.
three MVPs this year so far in the Leafs? And then we'll go to the three disappointments.
3 MVPs. Number one has to be Willie.
Yeah.
He's just, it could be just biased because he's my favorite player, but he's just so good. Anywhere he is, any line, he's gonna produce. And I feel like he even took the two-way
Mm-hmm.
criticism to heart too, and he's even doing that more.
Yeah. Have you noticed a play where he's like half skated back? Last
Yeah,
year there was a few that we were like, come on, man. Like we love you,
yeah,
but come on. I haven't actually noticed that at all this year, come to think of it.
yeah, yep. So he's number one. Number two, uh, I think it's gotta be Johnny T.
Mm.
Everyone said he's declining. He's only going to get worse. Oh my gosh. But he's been unreal. And he's the captain that we want, even though he doesn't say much, but he's been good.
Mm-hmm.
So I think he's going to be number two. And number three, I'm going to give it to Samsonov.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that
He
was going to be
stepped
my number
up
three too.
when needed. Wow, didn't see that coming.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely didn't see in the 920s of a save percentage.
Yeah.
And his quotes are unreal. And it makes you forget about
Oh
Jack
my.
Campbell a little bit easier, right?
Yeah.
I would say for my three, I would agree with two of them, Samsonov and Willie. I would just say Liljegren would be in my top three, just because he's established himself as being like a 2-3 guy when we always
Yeah.
knew that he kind of would be, but now he is. And
He's
I
doing
think I
it.
think long term, I think McCabe might take that MVP for the rest of the
Oh,
season from this point because he's just
yeah.
been awesome so far, other than the first game. But I think right now, for my favorite defenseman has been Liljegren, which is why I think it's so egregious that Justin Hall is starting ahead of him.
Oh my gosh.
All right, now your
Yeah.
three disappointments this year.
Disappointments. Number one has to be our boy Chad Engvall.
Oh, Chad Engvall, yeah.
Yeah. Uh, yeah, he just sucked this year. And then he got traded. So it was kind of sad because he always had potential.
Yeah.
A disappointment. Kerfoot, I guess.
Yeah.
He's still like a utility player. Like
He's not a
he's
first
not
line player, but he's an amazing fourth line player.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So as long as he's embracing it, but yeah, it's kind of disappointing.
No goals in 18
Yes.
games, I think.
Yeah, I saw
Yeah.
some weird stats on him this year, and I was like, I'm not surprised. And a third disappointing. Oh gosh.
You know what? Let's stop at two for you because we're a
Yeah,
positive Leaf podcast. We could have
because now it's
three
like really
MVPs over
nitpicking.
disappointments. I would say for
Anyone
mine,
really? Yeah.
I don't know. This is tough because I have liked Murray when he's in,
I was gonna say him for
but the
my third.
injuries have just been a lot for the price
Hmm.
that you're paying for him. But when he's in, I believe in him, you
Yeah,
know?
he's
So
definitely our
that's
best
why
goalie.
it's tough. Well, that's debatable because Sammy actually has better numbers, um
Yeah,
but like it's good to have we have two starting goalies. One
yeah,
just gets
and
hurt a
Wall
lot.
looks
And Wall looks like
promising.
next year he can be our backup. So
Yeah,
um I don't know if he would just maybe be on a disappointment because you can't necessarily help injuries. I would say Justin Hall, but when you have no expectations, it can't really be a disappointment. um, and um,
damn.
and Alex Kerfoot has been, for the reasons you just said, I'm going to throw in one more just
Oh,
because of, like you said, the bar is so high, and that's Austin Matthews. For me, has been a bit of a disappointment because I remember last year, it wasn't just the goals. It was there was about half of the games he played where he was the best player on the ice, no
yeah,
question. And we were even talking like, is he better than McDavid? Is he close to McDavid? And this
yeah.
year, that argument's gone away. You can't defend that point. He's not McDavid. And maybe I actually maybe you could count on one hand the amount of games that I've watched that Matthews is without a doubt the best player on the ice for both teams. If anything, Willie it has that more
Yeah,
this season.
yeah. The
So
X Factor.
I guess that would be a disappointment thus far,
Yeah,
but I'm still holding out hope that he maybe it's just an injury, maybe he turns around, maybe in the playoffs he starts to be that guy. But
yeah,
as of right now, he's a bit of a disappointment for me just because of the high expectation. The
yeah.
opposite of Hall, right? No expectations can't be disappointment.
Yeah,
um, now you had two questions for me to
yeah.
finish
There's
this
two
down.
left. That segues perfect into the question because it is about Austin Matthews.
All right.
And I saw this hypothetical question on Twitter. If it was available, do you trade Austin Matthews for the first overall pick this year?
For Bedard, yeah.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
take
you
that
do it.
trade?
You do it for a couple of reasons. One, Matthews has 1 year left where you don't even know if he's going to resign. I think he will resign. And this is something that like this isn't necessarily to do with the question, but like there was people were chirping him for like an RBC commercial he was doing. And
Yeah,
then in the same breath, people are saying he's going to leave. And it's like Austin Matthews makes what, 11 something $million a year. His next contract maybe will be in the 13 million range for 8 years. But him doing commercials like in like RBC commercials, he's not going
yeah,
to get that if he goes to Arizona. That's for damn sure. Even if he goes to LA, no one knows the LA Kings in LA. LeBron's going to be getting the commercials. Aaron Donald's going to be getting the commercial. Kawhi is going to be getting the commercials. Mookie Betts going to be getting the commercials. So, like, the chance he has to make a hell of a lot more money being the star of Toronto, that's why I think he's going to resign personally. To go back to your question, the second reason is you would have Connor Bedard team controlled at a low cap hit for years to go with this core. What could you do in the offseason if you had Connor Bedard for, I don't know, I think it's 800K or whatever.
Yeah,
for
the entry
4
level.
years, right?
Yeah.
You could go out and get another $11 million guy and have Marner, Nylander, Bedard, Tavares. You could re-sign O'Reilly and get an $8 million guy. So like, yeah, you would, but no one would. The opposite team wouldn't do that anyways. Even though Austin Matthews is so good. A better
question. What if it
question,
was like Matthews in a first?
No, I think you'd still go with Bedard.
Yeah.
The question that could be debatable, but I think it would be McDavid that would be one where I don't know what I'd do, because Bedard is amazing, but is he going to be McDavid? Is he going to be the guaranteed best?
You still have that unknown factor.
Yeah. So
anything could happen. It could be like any of the other previous Oilers first round picks.
Yeah. I think the only person in the league that you would have a question about trading there is McDavid for Bedard. Anything else, you take Bedard.
Okay.
That's my thoughts.
And the last one, a little more unrelated now, but it's everyone's talking about an expansion draft coming up and what city should get the next team. Do you have one that you would prefer to see? And if it was Hamilton to rival Toronto, 2 Toronto NHL teams?
They wouldn't rival Toronto, one. You wouldn't be getting enough of a fan base. I've seen the throwouts. See, the question of should or will is a very different question, because Bettman doesn't give a shit. I don't think it will. Well, Bettman doesn't give a shit about Canadian markets. And what he wants is an Atlanta or a Houston, I've seen thrown around. Like, he wants those southern markets that he can build a fan base and maybe make some more money, because the American dollar is worth more too. So, like, the should and the will are very different.
Do you have some cities you would like?
I don't know enough about the United States hockey market to know.
Yeah, all I can think is a couple of Canadian ones.
Yeah, so like, I don't know how big hockey is in Vermont, or how big hockey is in Wisconsin, or like, is it big enough there? But it would have to, if it's going to be an American market, I would want it to be in the northern portion. Like, because if you look at all the colleges that do well, it's the Minnesotas, it's the New Yorks, it's the Boston, like Massachusetts. So like, that's where hockey matters in the States. So somewhere there. But if we were going to Canada, I would say go back to Quebec City. I think for 2 reasons. I think one, it gives the maritime people out east a team that's a little bit closer than Montreal that they can maybe cheer for, because out there they don't really have anything, and Halifax is too far out, honestly, to have a team.
Do you think it is?
I think it's they don't have enough. Like, if you look at the population of Halifax, like, I'm pretty sure Waterloo Kitchener has way more people.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know if you could put it out there. As for Western Canada, you already got some in the big. I don't think Regina's big enough either, but they would have a dedicated fan base. I would say Quebec City would probably be in my number one for. And if the Francophones could stop hating us a little bit more and hate each other a little bit, that could be nice. But I would say northern United States, Quebec City, maybe Regina, but I don't think that they would have a big enough fan base. But no Hamilton. Enough with that. No Hamilton.
2 Toronto.
Yeah, 2 Toronto. Yeah.
That'd be sick. Okay.
Do you have any thoughts? Like, any place that
I think Quebec City is a top one. I had Halifax just because I think it'd just be sold out every single game. It'd
Yeah,
be
I mean, look at the
so
World Juniors,
huge.
right?
Yeah, like they're dying. Like they love hockey, but yeah, like you said, I don't know. The travel might be a little like coast to coast, but I think that'd be sick
Hmm.
if they could
Yeah,
somehow manage it.
yeah. I think Western Canada's pretty like set
Yeah,
out there, but you know they're gonna do a team in like Atlanta. That's why the question is just like
yeah.
it's so sad because it's just like Houston. Houston, are you kidding me? Like, oh no,
Another
Atlanta didn't
desert
win
team.
the first time. Don't. Why are you doing it again? Um. Anyways, yeah,
Nice.
that's my thoughts about that. But hey, people, as you can see, we're back. Leafs and Lads are back. We're posting some more content. Next time, we're going to have all three of us back for the first time. And hopefully, we'll get another win against Edmonton this Saturday.
Yeah. Homecoming for uh oh my god, why can't I think of the goalie? uh
Oh, Campbell?
Campbell.
Yeah.
Yeah. Get a little standing O.
Yeah. Yeah. If he plays, because they started Skinner last game against him and
Yeah. It
Edmonton
hasn't looked
manhandled
great.
us. So it'll be interesting to see if we can like push back this time because we've always played Edmonton the past 3 years well. Like I
Yeah.
think our record is stupid good against them. Last game we just sucked. We just sucked. And I would like to see
Yeah.
Murray get the start. I think he probably will get the start because Sammy played last
Yeah,
game.
he needs to get back into it.
Yeah, and Sammy did not play well against Edmonton last time. So
Yeah.
we'll get back to you after that one, and we're gonna be just pushing out these videos because we're gonna win the cup this year. It's gonna happen. I said
This
that
is
last.
it.
It's gonna happen.
Every year.
Peace out.